But seemingly at Unisa, this is not being done. And like I also alluded in the last conversation, that as a whistleblower and working with other whistleblowers at Unisa, I have very concrete witnesses who are in Unisa, very senior professors, who can attest to what I was saying, that the integrity of their qualifications is questionable.
Today sihleli no sis MANDISA MASHEGO. I'm excited siswami siyabonga.
Rise and sparkle.
Dale
Rise and sparkle. I'm so happy to see you. I'm so happy. I'm so excited. Because I haven't been able to get hold of you for 6 months, right?
Yo, don't say that. I don't say that.
6 months.
Yo, guys, I was overseas. I apologize. I was zula-zuling then hlanganising deals.
Welcome back.
It's good to be back, but kule nto bengizihlanganisa nawe ngizokufaka phela.
Ubuye nemali. Okay, thank you for ukungifaka.
Obvious, yes.
As long as ubuye nemali. Ngoba ninamadoda ase-South Africa lento yokunyamalala. Was your wife aware ukuthi ukuphi?
Asibuyisi sodwa.
Sengisho ukuthi was she aware ukuthi ukuphi sonke lesikhathi?
No, but mina I'm a family man, so angisingumuntu ozulayo for ukukekeleza for into ezi-wrong.
You hustle.
Thank you.
You are the chief. You're the chief hustler in South Africa.
I hustle for all of you guys.
Chief hustler.
Niyonifaka nonke.
Thank you.
Niyoninyusa nonke. Niyohamba nani.
Samba nawe nathi. You can't even get rid of us.
I'm looking forward to Inzalwelang again this year. We had a great time last year.
Yeah, we did. And in fact, I think it was amazing because it was literally the very first time something like this has been done. And I keep saying it because of my tourism background. Like for real, right? And so we did have, I think, 20% glitches. Some of them may have been small, but with a big impact. And some of them may have been really tiny glitches with really almost no impact. But it was great because we got to learn while doing the actual tour from the business side. And then we also obviously, I don't know, I came out of there with a new commitment to myself. And to everyone really around me. I mean, I'm constantly finding myself explaining to people about the calendar, the significance of the calendar, etc., just a little bit that I've learned. So I think it's amazing. We can expand, maybe not this year, maybe next year. Lots of possibilities. I think had we not had certain, things slowing us down, we could have probably by now roped in Ethiopia because they also use the African calendar. And their New Year is the 21st. We could have roped in ZCC. They celebrate New Year's on the 23rd every year. They've been since they've been in existence. How they explain it, I think they use religious explanations and all of that. It doesn't matter. But it demonstrates that from many, many different angles, we do have this alignment, whether spiritually or just in terms of evolutionary processes, and so I'm looking forward to it. Let's make it bigger, better, improve it, and maybe even collaborate.
11th of June, I'm very excited to be speaking at the Hebrews to Negroes movie launch, courtesy of Mr. Ronald L. Dalton, who has gone through a lot last year. Kerry Irving pretty much lost his Nike sponsorship last year, and I think he was trending in America last year for being labeled anti-Semitic, and I think also Kanye West went out crazy all over the media, and all of that happened. The brother has been in South Africa for the past couple of months, so he's eventually launching the movie here, like Kaya, at the Soweto Theatre on the 11th of June. And I'd like to congratulate Penuel on an incredible episode with Dr. Umar Johnson. As much as I turned down the exchange that they requested, the organizers said, we'll pay you an interview with Dr. Umar Johnson. I said, based on everything that we had been fighting for, even from the music industry, entertainment industry, I will not allow myself to be in a position where I'm accepting an interview as payment. But I am a big fan of Dr. Umar's work. I went to the event. I am, I continuously learn from scholars like him. So I want to congratulate my brother Penuel for having a thought-provoking interview with him. That was great and that was dope. That was beautiful. Well done, Penuel. That was incredible, my brother. Now, 11th of June, let's go and engage and support our brother, Ronald L. Dalton, 11th of June in Soweto Theatre, where he will be launching the movie Hebrews to Negroes. Okay, let's get into it. I think before we start, I want to say congratulations also on the Penuel Show episode that you guys did together.
Which one? We did got a few.
No, you did that one, and then you did one here on Virtual Mkuku. So
Yes,
you did two. Yeah.
yes.
There was one where you were wearing nice glasses. I think it's yellow glasses
Yellowish
or something.
ones?
Yellowish ones, yeah.
Yeah, everybody seems to love
I
them.
do not 24, like, hey.
Somebody bumped
I was
into me
so moved.
yesterday, an old friend, and was saying, "Oh my God, Mandisa, ukuka nini uzosala wedwa na these young kids." And I know it's a blessing and a curse all at once. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Yeah, we did a couple of interesting shows with Penuel. Had very good conversations. We did a show on Unisa. It wasn't actually about Unisa. It wasn't about Unisa.
Hey, the Unisa episode. Let's talk about it, yeah.
We can. It wasn't about Unisa. I can't remember which angle we were coming from, but it was about credibility, integrity, good governance, etc. And then the Unisa thing came up, and I really felt the need to talk about this because it's been bothering me for a long time. Because we get students from all over Africa in South Africa, across all the universities, especially the public universities, obviously the private universities as well. And I know this from my time when I was studying radiography at Joburg Gen, I insist on calling it that, and Vets Technicon back then, now we all know how old I am. I'm 49 years old.
Sure.
So all the students that were coming from African universities, it doesn't matter how far gone they had been in their studies in their university, especially West Africa, I mean, which is most of the students, most of the African students are coming from, had to redo, I know in the medical fraternity, had to restart from scratch in South Africa because South Africa and the globe didn't recognize their qualifications because of lack of integrity. Integrity is a very, very important thing in academia, research, etc., etc. As you know, even with the vaccines, there was the issue of integrity, peer reviews, etc., etc. So that's where it came from. And then Unisa threatened to sue me and obviously Penuel. And Penuel was pooing in his pants almost because he was, behind the scenes when we spoke about it, when they first threatened me, and issued a press statement saying that they're going to sue me. And the headline was, Unisa sues MANDISA MASHEGO. I was like, wow, there's bullying happening here, you know what I mean? There's misogyny of the highest form. And there's also just being anti-development and anti-really good governance. And I thought all of us were on the same page about the pursuit for good governance, whether in the private space or public space. And basically, yeah, they can't sue me because they are guilty as charged. And I basically need to sue them.
For the people who had not watched the episode, why did Unisa want to sue you?
They wanted to sue me because I made allegations about fake degrees, and I call them fake degrees, right? Because it's well known, it's a well-established fact at Unisa that you can go and enroll and just never sit for an exam and never do your own work.
I didn't know that.
But get the degree.
You gotta be kidding
And
me.
Unisa, and this is where I was coming from, Unisa doesn't have, or they have, but they're not implementing them or monitoring or doing constant oversight over their processes like anything else. Like your financial statements need to be over a year, and you need to have quarterly statements if you're a certain size of company or you're listed on the stock exchange, etc., etc. So academic institutions also have a lot of governance frameworks and guidelines to actually monitor and make sure they implement. But seemingly at Unisa, this is not being done. And like I also alluded in the last conversation, that as a whistleblower and working with other whistleblowers at Unisa, I have very concrete witnesses who are in Unisa, very senior professors, who can attest to what I was saying, that the integrity of their qualifications is questionable because they are not doing the necessary processes to the pressure test and to make sure that their processes are upstanding and there's no leakages of whether it's exam papers or what do you call it, people who plagiarize or people who actually, like I said, are not actually doing their work, and they get some people writing for them. These are regular jokes. And if you go to Wits or any of the so-called Ivy League universities in South Africa, Unisa is a standard joke. Like, it's a corridor joke. Like, everybody talks about it. It's like, I think Unisa was angry with me because I took a private conversation that happens in the private corridors of the academics sector and brought it out into the public. But it's a standard joke. Like, nobody, the respect for Unisa is very, very, is diminished in the eyes of the rest of academia in South Africa. Of course, they will deny it on record, because we're too obsessed with being diplomatic about wrong things in South Africa. When someone is corrupt or is doing corrupt things or is stealing money or is doing something wrong, either in the public or private space, we always pussyfoot around it for a long time before we actually solve the problem. And in the process, what's happening? Our country is suffering. But and that's where really I was coming from. And also because I'm a patriot. I think I'm a patriot. I'm a nationalist. I'm a South African. I'm not interested in going to live in another African country or other country in the world. I'm okay. I can visit and come back. But I'm not interested in literally migrating. Just the thought of leaving South Africa kills me. That's why I fight so hard. But as a patriot, I despise the fact that Unisa is taking down the name of South Africa. Because I don't know of another institution. There are many institutions who carry the name South Africa in their name. But Unisa carries it officially. It's part of their IP. The acronym, it says Unisa. The full name is University of South Africa. You can't say university without the South Africa and refer to Unisa. You know what I mean? Like, you can say Wits and nobody has to know what Wits stands for. But you can't say, you can't shorten even the acronym itself. The long name, even if you read it out loud, you say University of South Africa, you have to say University of South Africa for us to know you're talking about the University of South Africa. Can't shorten it. So they carry our name as a country in the name of their brand or their identity, their CI, their corporate identity. They're not allowed to just trash us and take us down with them the way the government is doing now and just really trashing us as a country. Unisa was actually lauded as one of the best universities in the world at some point. And it was fulfilling a very, very necessary need of long-distance learning. Back then, long before we had, AI, you could have video meetings. We had long before social media, long before emails even, right? When everything was through post. You had to post your submissions and everything, except your exams. And so, I don't know, I'm just really triggered by people. Like, if they want to carry on and trash the academic work of Unisa and its history and all of that, let them do it, but let them at least remove the name South Africa. Otherwise, they cannot tell me what to say about them. I'm a South African citizen. And if you're trashing the country and you are giving us a bad name and you are destroying a massive institution like Unisa, which they cannot rebuild, by the way. Once they destroy it completely, they can't rebuild it. Look at the municipalities that have been destroyed in South Africa. They can't rebuild. The people who have destroyed them cannot rebuild. You can't destroy and build at once. You must decide which one you're doing. So they can take me to court and sue me if they agree to remove the name South Africa out of their name.
Are you scared?
No.
And how's the case going?
There's no case. I'm suing them. I haven't started the process, but I met with my lawyer, Boang Jones from Boang Jones Attorneys. We had a meeting yesterday. We had a couple of meetings over the last month. But yesterday we had a physical meeting and we agreed that we need to, he's actually my business lawyer. He's taking care of legal documents and stuff for my business. And so, yeah, he's agreed to take this on as well because he's very passionate. He's the former CEO or chairperson of the South African Human Rights Commission in Gauteng, very passionate about justice, economic justice issues, and he's a feminist, he's a womanist. He's very, very passionate about advancing the cause of women, because he's a South African raised by his mother and grandmother, very passionate about the protection of women's rights, especially in the economic space. So he said, no, so yesterday I gave him the instruction that let's start proceedings. I'm suing Unisa. Now, I'm going to sue them for real. I'm not going to threaten them the way they threatened me. Because it was just a threat. They basically asked me to apologize. And then in that podcast you're referring to, I told them I won't apologize.
So you're still refusing to apologize?
I'll never apologize. I'm suing them
Okay.
for abusing me. They're abusing my rights. I have a right as a patriot of this country to defend anything in the country that I think is a risk, to who we are. Unisa is a very, very big entity in South Africa. Like I said, I mean, it's like saying the Republic of South Africa, Unisa. It carries the name South Africa. And if it goes down and it falls on the sword of corruption and maladministration and lack of integrity, and all the so-called intelligent professors there are quiet, like nobody's saying anything. Everybody's sitting with the report by Ifihla. Maybe they're busy intimidating each other with the reports, I don't know, but there's all sorts of reports. There's a report now that's been gazetted officially, proving, and where the report is recommending the removal of both the council of Unisa, which is like the exco of Unisa, as well as the vice chancellor.
The last interview that we had, you and I, you were openly about being an anti-vaxxer.
Yeah.
There is a doctor that I interviewed from America right in the middle of COVID in the beginning in 2020, Dr. Rashid Buttar.
Yeah.
He's just recently done an interview with CNN about 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
The interview went viral, international interview. And seemingly a week or two after that, Rashid Buttar passes on.
Can you imagine?
And there's just reports everywhere, obviously also in the medical community globally, that he was actually taken out. And, we're talking about it off air, and I just wanted to hear your opinions as far as being an anti-vaxxer are concerned. Have you changed your stance? What do you have to say now? It's almost 3 years later?
I'm more of an anti-vaxxer. I mean, look, big pharma, everything, capitalism, we're all entrepreneurs and we're really trying to do our best. But if you look at the capitalist system and how it's designed, it's really designed to be big brother over, the small guy. And I really think that's a wrong formula. And this anti-vaxxer thing comes from the same narrative. It comes from the same, scenario of capitalism having developed out of control the way it has now, where when I invent something or I create something, my invention, my creation should not be questioned. That's wrong. I mean, from any angle, my invention or my innovation and my creation should not be, scrutinized by peers in my sector. That's wrong. For the simple reason that what if what I've invented has got a very serious fault in it, and it really does need a second, third, fourth eye and brain to look at it and say, listen, by the way, that's what advisory is all about, right? We've got all these auditing firms doing advisory, offering advisory services. And so capitalism has closed off the space in the fight for bigger and bigger profits, has closed off the space for that. And that's really the whole fight about this thing, because where it started was when the big Pfizer and all these other bigger pharmaceutical companies were saying, oh no, we have a response, we have an answer, we have a therapeutic response or treatment, or it's not treatment, a vaccine, inoculation, as a direct response to COVID. And other scientists who work in the biomedical space said, look, we want to look at this thing like any other medical invention, does get peer reviewed and must be peer reviewed for safety reasons as well. And also to make sure that if there's possible enhancements by other experts, it happens. And so this is when it started, when the sector, through Big Pharma, through Pfizer and the others, refused to be peer reviewed. And that's when the big problem started, right? So why are they refusing to have this thing peer reviewed? Oh no, because it's an emergency, right? So there's just too many questions, and the questions are growing. I'm definitely an anti-vaxxer. I'm definitely a conspiracy theorist. I remain a conspiracy theorist. And I cannot, because in many cases, most of the things that have been touted as conspiracies, years later, generations later, decades later, those things get proven that they were actually true, that they actually happened. You just get labeled a conspiracy theorist because you are causing problems for people who are benefiting from the wrongdoing that's happening, which is what's happening with the vaccine. What really should be happening in the medical space, we should really be all pursuing more aggressively natural ways of maintaining our health, number one, so that we maintain a good health status through food, exercise, appropriate exercise, etc., etc. Maternal health care for women, especially gynecological interventions, lots of natural interventions. There's loads of natural interventions that can solve the biggest problem currently in healthcare, which is access to healthcare. So if it's natural, people can grow their own stuff that can be used as remedies. It would be a lot cheaper. the healthcare the industry will be able to accommodate a lot more practitioners, even practitioners that are not from Western trained, medical universities, etc. India, New Delhi, actually has my sister is a nurse. She doesn't work as a nurse anymore, but she's a nurse. My sister recommended that when I go to India, because I want to go to India, I want to do that 30-day silent meditation and retreat, that I visit New Delhi. And there's a hospital, I forget the name of the hospital, that exists along indigenous medicinal practices of India, and where they've blended Western medicine and Western medical interventions, equipment, therapies, etc., medications with Indian indigenous natural medicinal practices. It's possible they can coexist. There's no need to be living in this world where we are taking medicines that are actually making us sick and that are actually inducing, the weakness of your blood system or your bone system or your immune system, etc. And so I never took the vaccine. I never will take the vaccine. I feel victorious, and I'm very proud to say that I feel victorious. And not from an arrogant point of view. I feel victorious that I didn't take the vaccine, and I'm happy. I'm really, really happy, because I honestly do believe that there's a lot of truth to, the allegations about the blood disorders that happen in the bodies of people who took multiple shots. That it actually does impact your immune system, because your blood and your bone structure are the basis of your immune system. So anything that interferes with your blood is interfering with your immune system, with the ability of your body to protect and defend itself.
But then again, why would South African politicians allow that to happen? Because I remember when that was happening, when a lot of people who were considered anti-vaxxers were speaking out against it, politicians said, but why would we take out our own people when they are taxpayers? And that's how we survive, through their taxes.
Well, there's a lot that happens. And I remember once I had this discussion with somebody about lawmaking, right? And I know I always go back to that, because everything that you do is governed by a law. We don't get involved in lawmaking. We don't even know how the laws that we have in Parliament actually come about. I've been involved with amending one law, which is electoral bill, because we were involved in the case. And by the way, the 11th of June, when you are going to be attending the
Hebrews to Negroes movie launch in Soweto Theatre.
That's our fourth or third year anniversary? Third year anniversary of our court victory, that the Electoral Act be declared unconstitutional. Anyway, they passed an even worse one, but it's okay. There's nothing we can do about it, because also you can't pass a law in South Africa unless you're a member of Parliament. Now, or an MPL to some limited extent. Now, the point I'm raising about that is that we are governed by global trends and global ways of doing things, and maybe I'll even take the risk of saying we are also governed by Western, largely. Yes, of course, there's also the Eastern influence, Western ways of doing things and developing processes, systems, regulations, etc. And it's completely wrong, because we have no clue. Okay, so there was a process during the so-called pandemic, because I insist that it was planned.
Shout out to Dr. Judy Macho.
Yes.
Judy Markovitz, I think. Anyway, yeah.
Definitely shout out, and also condolences to Dr.
Rashid Buttar, man. Yeah. My heart is sad, because he's one of the people that woke me up. He's one of the people that made me go deeper and research.
You interviewed him. I was shocked. I didn't know.
I interviewed him on the Hustlers Corner. I'm going to put the link in the description, guys. Go check out that interview.
Please reshare it, because now, as a tribute to his life,
I
think maybe put it at the top of your, if possible.
Yeah.
I was just saying that it's not something easy to respond to, and it's not a quick response, because capitalism has developed over, say, 200 years, and all of us are established in the system now. And by the way, I like capitalism. I don't hate capitalism.
You're an entrepreneur.
I might criticize it, but I actually like capitalism, because I think it does have a contribution towards innovation, etc. There's just other aspects of it, like the distribution of the proceeds, of the profits, the need to cap profits when they become super profits, etc., and things like this in the biomedical space, in the agriculture space, in the engineering space with this cloud seeding, bioengineering. I do think we need a lot of limitations when it comes to technology and advancement interfering with nature. We do also need to start curbing. And I'm glad to hear the globalists starting to be honest about artificial intelligence, to say that it's actually going to lead to the extinction of humankind, and it's a reality. So like anything else, it has its good and its bad, and I'm dealing with its bad, right? And I'm saying, if we understood how laws were made, we as South African citizens would not have allowed the South African Parliament, or even the President, to, one, declare that we needed to be closed, our borders needed to be closed, because that had a direct impact on our economy, and we're still suffering the scourge of that. That's one, we would never agree to that. Secondly, that they even try to make vaccination mandatory, because right now there's another scourge developing from the vaccination that was happening in South Africa. They had a campaign for measles. And I urge anyone who took their children for that measles injection recently to check if their children are now not suffering from mumps and other things.
And a lot of people's children, even who are autistic, blame it on the vaccines.
So there's a lot of research that needs to be done.
There's even a lot of stories coming there, even in India, where a lot of families are actually suing the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. I stand to be corrected. Go research it online.
Yeah.
Indian families are not happy about what happened. I think it was a decade or two ago with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, that they conducted researches on their children, and apparently
without even their permission.
Huge numbers of their children are now autistic.
Do you know about the research in Cape Town that was running now during these 3 years of the craziness of the globalist agenda to basically control the world economy and take it into the control of few individuals? There was a research done at using the Archbishop Desmond Tutu Foundation in Cape Town.
No, I didn't hear about it, no.
They were doing... No, you see, this is the thing about our society. We're very compliant and tolerant of nonsense. In Khayelitsha, Gwalanga, Gugulethu, I think, the black townships in Cape Town, they were doing medical research on, what was it, not tonsillitis? I can't remember what's the condition, some condition, right? They were doing research. And then in that process of doing the research, suddenly a lot of cases of that medical condition started to increase. And so, and a whole lot of strange things were happening in the township around that time. And because everybody's scared to be called a conspiracy theorist. But the research by the Archbishop Desmond Tutu Foundation is real. It was done. I must just remember the medical condition that they were claiming to research. But during the time when they started the research, that's when the number of incidents then started to increase. And who funds the Archbishop Desmond Tutu Foundation?
Isn't it the Open Society Foundation, George Soros's? I stand to be corrected.
One of them.
I don't know. Guys, these are from Zazazel. It's a local eyewear brand. Go check them out online. Check out their social media platforms. They've got different sizes, different shapes, different designs. Beautiful, beautiful eyewear collection. Zazazel. That's what it's called, Zazazel Eyewear. And I know Khalisela Usis MANDISA because before the episode started, she's like, wow, your shades are nice. I'm like, they're a local brand. And it's nice that, oh, by the way, these ones are called Elliot Sitole. ElliotSitole.co.za. Go check out his website. Beautiful artwork.
Nice.
He says this kid was playing Stratini, Akala, Namafinyela, Adala Nabangani back.
Jengam.
What nakatujikisa ubuso kanti uphethe camera agcina amshaya khatla.
Oh,
and
wow.
then he started putting him on canvases. He spoke to his mother, and now he also
Where's
does
the kid from?
Soweto.
Oh.
Also Ekatlehong, K1,
wow.
yeah, Eguruleni. And then he also does canvas. He does ukamba. He arts on ukamba as well.
So do you know that there's a whole community of creatives at the Constitutional Hill?
Yeah, I've heard about it.
And tonight they have a thing, I don't know what they call it, art something. They always have, to showcase their work. So every time you talk about people in the creative, I always find myself with people in the creative sector. Like,
Yeah,
and I'm not really a creative. Look, I suppose I'm creative in other ways, but I'm just always my whole life is surrounded by you guys, right?
Yeah.
So I was just thinking, Uguti, it would be nice if we could have somebody like that, you know.
It's dope.
collaborating with the guys at Cornhill because they're really doing well. I've got two friends of mine who were the people who really battled for that thing to happen, right? Yolanda, Unisa.
Yolanda and Unisa, yeah.
Yolanda,
Yeah.
And Zach, Zach,
Yeah,
our creative
yeah.
guy for
Zach is good. Zach is amazing. Zach, we go way back from the days of YFM, back in the
Zach
day.
is so amazing. So they're all based there, and they have a world. I mean, I just took a pair of shoes of mine to be restored. Like Mauteng Itatula, and then Lapa Bili, because of knocking rocks and stuff, they start chafing off, but the shoe is still basically new. So I was so traumatized. There's a lady there who restores shoes. She actually restored the shoe better than what I bought it. How she redid the sole, restored the whole thing. At Cornhill, there's an amazing guy who's got a gallery there. I just love the Cornhill guys.
So when you were talking about Cape Town, I actually just thought
So
let me give these guys a plug because these ones are also from Cape Town, the second coming. Young guys from Cape Town, they do these caps, beautiful work.
Wow,
I'm just so proud of our country, just the creative space that's growing.
I just want us to get to the point where we manufacture the textile.
Thank you.
That's where I think we should. And no, this is great work. This is amazing. And yes, I'm glad you reminded everybody because I did. I want a pair actually. Where can I buy them? These.
I'll organize you. Zazazel guys. Zazazel eyewear. Go check them out on social media.
Brown pair,
ne?
Something brown, something tortoise shellish if they have.
But when you always have dope frames.
I'm crazy about tortoise shell.
This is also nice as well.
And I lost a pair. I lost a pair recently.
Okay.
Yeah, but I must keep track of I think my place is too small, so I don't have enough place to store my valuables.
So let's go back. Sorry, I was disturbing you. You had to blow your nose. We're talking about Kailicha, Elanga.
Yeah.
We're talking about what it
where
just
they were doing
happened
medical
there.
research on some condition, and then people started getting the condition. And I was coming to this question. When the South African government, I was coming to this question about, this entire saga within the medical sector and the growth of private interest in healthcare, which is very dangerous, right? Because then it gets subjected to profit. And of course, profit is not an evil thing. We all want profit. We need to make profit. I need to make a profit in my business. Everybody needs to make a profit. The question is, are we going to keep on making profits to the detriment of the rest of the population until when? And this is a classical example. So when the opportunity came for South Africans to make submissions towards the amendment of the health bill, remember there was that amendment?
Yeah.
What was that amendment about? They wanted to make this a permanent situation. They wanted to change some rules which were basically going to be counter the constitution to say that at times when necessary, the government can force you to take whatever therapy they want you to take, a pill, an injection, medicine. Like, you can't do that.
You can't force it.
You can't force.
I
even have a right to die, and I demonstrated that in my objection, because I wrote my own individual objections. I know a lot of NGOs decided to write a massive objection and get different signatures, almost like a petition. I wrote my own, and I insisted that the Department of Health replies to me to acknowledge receipt, because this thing is very important, right? So I think I wrote a 4 or 5 page objection, but quoting various pieces of legislation that are supporting my argument and also challenging them on making the current vaccine, because this they were doing for the future, and they were basically driven by the World Health Organization. The World Health Organization, they were basically following the World Health Organization, because the World Health Organization also tried to push health regulations to make vaccination permanent and to create laws around pandemics and all sorts of crazy things.
Basically taking away our sovereignty.
Making it possible for a government to jail you if you refuse a medicine. Right? And to which point I made the point of my right to die. Fine. If you're saying that if I don't take the vaccine, I'm going to die, then I wish to, how can I put it? I wish to then exercise my right to die in that case. If you're saying to me, I have to drink, oh, by the way, I wanted to say something about this, please remind me. Yeah. If you're saying to me, I have to drink more fire in order to be your friend, and administer it to me.
Just like the taxi drivers who were burning Uber cars.
That is so terrible.
Forcing other kids to not hustle, even taking away their lives, forcing people to use their either meter taxis or minibus taxis, which is totally unfair.
At night. Where are you going to find a minibus taxi? You know, there's a woman that I once helped who was gang raped coming from work in a taxi. And those incidents are not isolated. They're very common. it's not safe to be in taxis after, dark, or, when it's dark. It's just not safe. It's not safe to be in a minibus taxi because of the maintenance issues on the taxis and the way the taxi drivers, behave on the road. But I'm so sorry that this happened to them. But this begs the question, the economy and investments. Who is going to invest in a country where people readily loot, burn, destroy other people's infrastructure? Because those vehicles belong to the entrepreneurs who decided to invest in the Uber platform and actually offer a service which is needed. Yeah, we may complain. I have complaints. My bank account was hacked recently. Obviously, it's these online payments. I hate online payments. But my bank account was hacked and they used Uber, and it was Uber this and this and that. About 14 transactions, I think close to 3,000 rand was taken out of my bank account. Fortunately, FNB has got this. Sorry, I didn't mean to give them free advertising my bank.
No, it's okay.
Alerted me. They alerted me before because I noticed. I'm like, what the hell's going on? I don't use e-hailing at all. I'm actually quite scared of it. There were also security concerns, which I have with e-hailing at night if you're a female, or the children that have disappeared from taxis. But those are, other. So the question is, how are we going to do business in a country where your assets are not safe? How are you going to invest? How does it happen that people can walk into a property like the Maponya Mall and burn taxis and burn vehicles? Anybody's vehicle, it could have been shoppers. How does that happen? I don't understand that. Are we not supposed to have a country that protects, not only people, but assets as well? Because assets are directly linked to investment. When we had the looting in 2021, there's a direct relationship between looting and poorer economic performance, whether it's loss of investments, people halting investments that they were already busy with, right? Infrastructure projects, etc. And people just pulling out because they're scared. How am I going to invest, money that I've borrowed from a financier that my business must pay back, and the business must grow. There must be an impact on the economy. There must be jobs. There must be development within that sector and all those good things. Who's going to do that with this kind of behavior? Luane must not behave like that. Like we're really behaving like it's like almost like we're in a civil war situation.
It's crazy because
anybody can wake up in South Africa and bomb a building. By the way,
these are our kids. We're saying they must not be criminals. The unemployment rate is at over 70% for young people.
Yeah.
Young people decide to get themselves Uber cars so they can hustle and make money because they can't
I
get jobs.
have a friend
right?
whose kids are permanently driving taxis.
Now we must kill our own kids.
In the township.
And who are only transporting one client for 36, 38 rand, 45 rand, 60 rand on a short trip.
How far is the nearest police station from Maponya Mall or satellite station? How long did it take the police to respond to this thing, Yaizo?
Did they even respond?
Actually, there's a police station. Is it a police station?
I think it's a satellite.
JMPD.
Oh, JMPD, yeah.
Right opposite.
Yeah.
The Maponya Mall
But still, there was
precinct.
gunshots, there was cars being torched,
What about the people who are shopping? Because clearly, for the meter taxis to have been there, the e-hailing taxis to have been there at that time, there were still customers and employees and workers.
Of course.
So manje musudubula. I don't get that. Like, so se siyabulalana manje. Siyabulalana because we want the right. So it's the same as this nonsense that's happening with Big Pharma.
Sorry about that. Let's go back to the sovereignty, the country's sovereignty.
The issue of sovereignty. It's not just sovereignty of the country. It's my and your sovereignty as individuals. That's the sovereignty we're talking about. Because what is a country? It's just a geographic address, right? But what is the sovereignty in aid of? It's in aid of our right to live our life and coexist with each other, obviously peacefully, progressively, productively, jointly, profitably, right? Successfully as a people. And we need that sovereignty in order to be able to do the things that we need to do as a people of this country to advance our lives, ensure the future and security of our children, posterity, build our economy, have a safe country and all of that. And so the World Health Organization was essentially removing our sovereignty by imposing. Your question was about when Parliament took all these decisions and all of that, where were we basically as the people? Some of us as anti-vaxxers were there, like I said. We can show, we've got evidence of things that we've done, objections that we've written, whatever little bit of smallanyana power onayo. Because it's clear that all the political parties, except for Freedom Front Plus, ACDP,
ACDP was very vocal.
and I don't know who else,
Yeah.
and Freedom Front Plus,
Yeah.
who basically were on the side of our human bodies.
And shout outs to doctors, local doctors, like about Dr. Botha. I forgot her name. I don't know if you know about her. Yeah.
The surgeon.
She was very vocal
the
about it.
neurosurgeon.
Yeah, she was
the
very-
neurosurgeon who was fired by I think it was Netcare, if I'm not wrong. Is it Netcare or not? Yeah, I think it might have been Netcare. If it wasn't Netcare, I'll be. And then there was another doctor. For somebody, Afrikaans surname.
I forgot.
Who was
the
a
other
brain
doctors.
surgeon, yes. Amazing work.
So there were a lot of isolated doctors that were very vocal.
But the doctors are threatened. I have a friend who has confirmed that doctors were threatened.
And obviously others were killed.
Others were killed, yeah. They were threatened with removing their medical license, their practicing license. Now do you see the conglomeration and the control, how centralized it is? So you can go and study, get your medical certificate, qualification, technically do your practicals, pass all those processes. But the minute you refuse to administer a medicine on behalf of a big global profit-making company that manufactures that medicine, then your license is taken away. I don't understand that.
neither
Are
do
you not trained as a doctor to be objective? To have an opinion? Since when is it wrong to say, no, I don't want this, I want this? And then they say, oh, but you're going to die if you don't drink MOFAYA. You're just going to die. It's like, you know what? Actually, let me die. I'm going to die anyway. I don't know when. And I really don't want to know when I'm going to die.
I don't want to know either.
Not in the next 30 years. After 30
I've
years,
got a lot
I'll
of
be
work
ready
to
to
do.
die. Yeah,
I've got a
I'll
lot
be
of
ready
work
to
to
die
do.
in 30 years. But before 30 years, I'm not ready to die. Somebody's
Hola.
passing. I'm a fans Warasmu.
Hola. Come say hi on camera quickly.
I'm
Come
a
say hi on
fans,
camera. Because you're already here. It's okay, bro. Anybody that knows you, they'll see you
And buy
passing
some.
by. Come to the camera. Tell us who you are, where you're from. Skipani. Sure.
Yeah, I'm Trust Mutema Sango. I work here. I'm based in Joburg.
Where you from and what do you do here and what's the name of the company?
Based at Life Healthcare. I'm a software developer.
Nice to meet you, Trust.
Nice to meet
You're
you.
Zimbabwean, right? I
Yes,
know what
I
the
am.
name.
Oh, yeah.
I know
How do you
Zimbabwean
know?
names
Like
always
wisdom, trust, knowledge.
Wisdom,
Beautiful
trust.
names.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Native.
Yeah.
You guys are very intelligent. You guys are educated, yeah.
Yeah, we try.
And how long have you been around?
More than 12 years.
Nice.
Yeah.
Amazing. Is the ZEP affecting you?
No, it's not.
Is that affecting you? You're,
It's not
you're
affecting
here
me.
legally.
Yes.
Great.
Of course, I don't
Great,
think you would
great,
like.
great.
Yeah.
And what would you like to say to the people that back home, even people at BYO, the City of Kings?
Wow, guys. This is great. It's a dream come true to meet this man. I love watching the podcast. I watch it every time on
Yes.
TikTok. Yeah.
Thank you, bro. And what would you like to say to Zimbabwe brothers and sisters all over the world who are not even in the continent now?
Peace and love, hope.
Nice.
Yeah.
No, say something.
Everything's gonna be all right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it
I love
is.
the optimism.
Yeah.
Yes.
Everything's gonna be all
And
right.
let's rock a selfie though. Come, where's your phone?
Everything is going to be all right in
It will
Zimbabwe.
be, man. It will be.
Yeah.
It will be.
It's
I
like
believe.
us in South Africa. Everything is going to be all right with us too.
Yeah, exactly.
Let it just be the two of you guys.
Yeah.
You don't want to get in? Come in. Another one. Yeah.
Okay. My apple is not
Let's
on
have a
point
more
today.
fire there. Let's have
Let's
a
have a
more
more
fire.
fire
There,
here.
sure. Hola.
There you go.
Yeah.
And let's have a proper one with that camera. Also rock it up. This is for all the Zims, my brothers and sisters,
Yes,
Makokoba land, BYO,
Harare.
Harare, everyone out
Harare. I
there.
had a dream to study in Harare when I was young.
Man, peace.
Lovely to meet you.
I
Yeah?
love it to meet you too.
God bless, God
meeting
bless,
you.
God
Nice
bless.
meeting you, Trust.
That was nice. That was
Yeah,
nice.
that
That's
was
what I love about podcasts. If
That
it
was
was
amazing.
if it was TV, we would call it cut.
So I just wanted to say that,
Yeah.
by the way, I love MOFAYA, and I really do. I want a version of MOFAYA I can drink
I get you.
because I have a lot of allergies. Not allergies, but I'm a health person.
Yeah.
I lost lots of weight over the last 3 years just by changing my diet.
Yeah.
So sugar, processed sugar, So if there's processed sugar there, I can't drink it. If there's preservatives that are not healthy and not natural, I can't drink it. If there's colorants, I can't drink it. All of I've actually come off Amalokanjana. There's one, I think, from one of the retail chain stores that is sort of health, whatever. So please, can you give us abantu, anti-vaxxer who try to avoid izinto ezizodinga imjovo?
Health version.
Yes,
right?
of course. I mean, I consume Big Pharma, of course. I mean, I'll take. I had a headache earlier.
Hello.
I had to take some aspirin, and I'm a fan. I have medical aid because I will not remain without it. But everything is about balance. Can we balance natural medicine and Western medicine, and then can we put limits on Western medicine technologically? Because right now we have a lot of problems with plastic in the world, for instance, right? Synthetics, and the reality is that this vaccine has got synthetic components. There might be nanoparticles, but they are there, which is what's, lots of scientists. I mean, it's an argument that I don't have to defend. There's a lot of scientists. You can Google as much as you need to.
No, I'm trying to get into
lots of
some
scientists.
of the things that you recommended for me to take, and I have not bought them yet. But now
Okay.
that we're speaking about the healthy stuff, I was so blown away by some of your recommendations on some of the things that could benefit me. How? Yeah, I think it was.
I send so much stuff. Like I do research
I think you
all
sent
the time.
me. We spoke about amadumbe.
Food, yes, the other day. So for instance, for me to lose weight without straining my body, at my age, I was in my 40s already. Okay, I was trying to have a baby at the time.
Yeah.
So I was also trying to delay menopause
Yeah.
so that I can still have a period and still be able to manufacture a baby in my womb. And so I had to lose the weight because it was a contributing factor to my infertility, my infertility process, which is menopause. But so if you replace, let's say, the potatoes that and
Yeah.
are not even indigenous to us. And I know there's a lot of
I didn't know
debates
that.
about what's indigenous.
Okay.
Well, white people, I mean, my ancestors have been here. I'm saying my ancestors on both sides of my family. Yeah, noma bangaba yini babe yini. There's nothing I can do about it. Angikwazi ukusakha igazi labo out of my veins. They've been here for almost 400 years now, right? On the SADC side. So there's a lot of things that they came with that we all think are sort of natural to us, but they are not.
And what are those?
Potatoes, I'm talking about food. Because
Yeah.
remember, Moses Kepe, I mean, take yourself to 400 years back. You're going to have to carry everything. There's very few stops because our ports are going to be developed. Kakulu.
Yeah.
There's a few ports here. There's those the western coast of Africa ports where they were taking the slaves out. What is that? Not Liberia. Yeah, Liberia. And a few countries where the slaves were, the ones that were the ports to take the slaves.
Yeah, I think it was
So-
including Ghana, I think.
so they couldn't, stop and refuel and do all sorts of things, for food. So they had to carry as much food from home as possible. So you need to understand that also contributed, besides birds and all of that, rivers flowing and the sea can't carry seeds anyway, except the sea plants that grow at the bed of the sea. But any other seed won't last in the sea because it dies because of the salt. But besides that, the human factor is the biggest factor. The colonial factor is the biggest factor that led to us having a lot of vegetables, fruit, crops, and other things that are basically not indigenous to us in Africa or southern part of Africa. So potatoes, I would think even the onion that we have, the brownish onion.
Are you trying to tell me that brownish onion
I'm
is
not
not
sure.
indigenous to South
I'm
Africa?
not sure. I want to double check.
Okay.
I have a list of things that were not indigenous to us. I think surprisingly, people will be quite shocked to know, but there's a debate about this. Even avocado, maize. Maize is really more indigenous to America. And so all of those are things that came with colonizers because they needed to carry their food here. But the potato, I know. So you can replace the potato ngamadumbe. Very healthy. It's almost like it's a health food. It's actually good for your health.
But what is the benefit of amadumbe leaves? The leaves can be consumed like spinach and used as in stews, curries, and sauces. The benefits known to regulate insulin and glucose. Amadumbe are a good food for diabetics. Oh.
Like umhlonyane.
They also contain a high amount of potassium,
Like sweet
which
potato.
relieves blood pressure and strain on the heart.
Isn't that amazing? So it's actually a healing food. Mauyidla, your body finds healing. Vitamin C is loaded in sweet potatoes. So I moved to sweet potatoes. Amadumbe nghlalang now.
Yeah.
I even tried to plant them, but the Joburg soil is too cold.
You also told me of mango leaves.
Mango leaves, brilliant. Is a blood regulator. Brilliant for people who are diabetic, pre-diabetic, hypertension, and all of that.
And they say the health benefits of mango leaves is support skin health, excellent for hair problems, balance the blood sugar levels, manage high blood pressure, treat gall and kidney stones, may treat stomach ulcers and hiccups, may help with weight loss, may have anti-inflammatory properties. Wow.
And it kills the period pain on the spot.
That's mango leaves.
No side effects.
And then you said you don't wash them hard, you just dust off, you just rinse them, right?
In mango leaf, you rinse very quickly with
Let's
ice cold water.
Let's start by picking it up from the tree. You said not the babies.
So for me,
Yeah.
since I've discovered mango leaf, because a friend of mine told me about it, who
Yeah.
also got it from a herbalist, and I started practicing it in the later years of my productive cycle. So the healthiest, or rather the leaf that has the most nutrients, that is fully 100% what the mango leaf is supposed to give you, is not the one right at the tip of the branch.
Those are the babies, right?
The little babies, the light green ones. You know,
Yeah.
when a mango leaf mase izala,
Yeah.
amacembe amasha.
Yeah.
Not those ones.
Yeah.
Not the very big ones at the base of the trunk and the branch.
Yeah.
That are very big, so amatala. The ones in the middle, I call them teenagers. The teenager leaf.
yeah.
And you can see it. It can be about this long, but it generally tends to be thinner than the very big one. It's much darker. It's dark green. It's crispy. You can literally break it and you can hear the crispness of it almost. And then you just soak it in water.
Just
normal water.
to remove the dust, right?
Normal tap water. Of course, if you in Hammanskraal, you're going to have to boil your water first and then cool it off and then remove the dust. You remove the dust with ice cold water, quick, like less than a second. Why? Because it is strainer very quickly. So the minute you leave it in water, the water starts to immediately go yellow. So the longer you rinse it, the more you're going to be extracting nutrients out of it. So I've used it. I use it. I recommended it to a lot of my friends' kids who still get their period. Lucky them.
So you
I'm
boil
just
you
at the
boil
age
it,
where I hate people who have periods because they can have babies and I can't.
but you boil it and you drink the water, right?
You don't boil it.
Okay.
Literally soak it overnight
Okay.
in a big jar. Let's say you take 5 to 10 leaves in a 1 liter jar, whatever. Clean, leave it there. The next morning, it's perfectly strained. You drink it on an empty stomach. You can drink it with food, but I mean, it makes no difference.
Okay, so we've spoken amadumbe, we've spoken mango leaves. Come, let's go again.
Sweet potato.
Sweet potato benefits. Let's go. Sweet potato benefits.
Sweet potato, basically, yeah, it's almost, and also the same. Sweet potato leaves, imfino, you can eat that. You can,
Imifino, yeah.
Yeah, you can eat that with your pap because, I mean, there's really nothing terribly wrong with pap except that it's overly processed, the milli meal. But if you mix pap, let's say your carb, right? Let's say you take potatoes, nenyama, and all of that, or pap and meat, rice and meat. That's the combination, the killer combination.
And while we're talking
you need to
about
have
it,
your pap with imfino.
I'd like to throw in a disclaimer there, guys. We're not doctors. Consult your health professionals. MANDISA is also not a doctor. It's very important. Yeah. Okay. Benefits of a sweet potato: rich in nutrients. Sweet potatoes are a great source of nutrients. They're high in fiber, vitamin A and C, potassium and manganese.
Yep.
They also contain small amounts of other vitamins and minerals like calcium, iron, and vitamin E. They also boost the immune system.
Yeah.
They are rich in antioxidants, which help boost your immune system. They also contain beta-carotene, which is converted into vitamin A in your body. And vitamin A is important for maintaining a healthy skin, eyes, and mucous membranes. Another benefit of
Sweet potato. Patata.
is promote healthy digestion. They lower blood pressure,
Yep.
regulate blood sugar, reduce inflammation, improve brain function, weight loss,
That's what I did.
good for skin
I
health,
came off the processed carbs.
anti-cancer properties.
I came off potatoes and all the processed carbs completely. All I ate was sweet potato and namadumbe if I could get them.
Reduce risk of heart disease.
Yep.
Wow.
And then the leaf, it's exactly like beans. So I grow beans as well in my garden. You can take the leaves of the beans, because they end up falling off and drying after they've produced the actual bean,
Yeah.
and make that morojo.
Yeah. So
Amazing.
What I'm loving about what we're touching on, and I think on the next episode, what I'd like to challenge you on is the Land Restitution Act.
Yes, we were going to talk about that.
No,
but
that's what I would like for us to do on the next episode.
On the next one, okay.
Yeah. And as a matter of fact, we can even record it now, and then we can post it 2 weeks in a row. Because I loved some of the things
we
that
can get into it now, yeah.
No, we're not going to get into it now. I want us to get into, I'm saying after this episode. We film it, but we're going to play it next week.
After this one, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But right now, to finish off this episode, I'd like for us to talk about the cholera outbreak in Hammanskraal.
Yeah. So I was involved with the Hammanskraal community for a while, some years back. And I keep repeating this to all communities. It's not just Hammanskraal. The sooner we all, especially as black people, we realize that there's certain things that we just need to do for ourselves. A water treatment plant, I mean, if you can get together hydrologists, because you need, obviously, if you're dealing with water, you need a hydrologist and several other engineers. You can get together a team of technical people, and not just engineers, but who work in that space, in the water infrastructure space, water processing space. You will understand that it's actually not a costly, it is costly, but it's not a ridiculously costly exercise. I always use the people of Soweto as my, because I have so much respect for the people of Soweto in terms of what they did to electrify themselves in the late 70s, 80s, and how they went to Eskom and said, listen, we're going to open a trust, because anifuna ukusinikeza electricity to some of the houses, some had, some didn't. So we're going to pay X amount per household, very small amount. We're going to save our own money. So basically take our own tax, put it into a trust account, get a team of experts to manage that money, and report back to us. And then we're going to pay you to install infrastructure so we can have electricity in our houses. Why can't the people of Hammanskraal do that? Because what's the point of constantly, Einstein, you do the same thing over and over again and you get the same result, and every time you keep doing the same thing thinking that you're going to get a different result. The discussions about what, like nobody can even tell you what the problem is. The problem is the water treatment plant and whatever in the value chain of the water cleansing, process, water processing process from Rand Water, and I don't know who else is providing water in Pretoria besides Rand Water. I could be wrong. But the people of Hammanskraal need to get together as households, take charge of their lives. They need to get lawyers, good lawyers who are used to working on infrastructure stuff so that they can be quick. Inform both Rand Water, Department of Water and Sanitation, the municipality, and anyone else who's related to this, that please step aside. We are now ready to build our own treatment plant, fix it, refurbish it, whatever the hell it is that needs to happen. We know what it's going to cost. We've got a trust account. We're going to put our money in there, and that's it. But still remain within the value chain, because remember, they are entitled to water. Water is a right. How the water gets to you, that's not a right. I think sometimes we confuse that. That's just a service that the municipality and Rand Water and Water and Sanitation offers you, and then you pay for it, right? But the right to water, you cannot be denied the right to water. So you can't separate the right to getting to water and how you get the water, because you need to get it in your house, right? It's a very easy thing to do because the infrastructure is already there. It just needs to be fixed. Just needs to be fixed, and it just needs to be maintained regularly, because I think that's another thing about us black people, like we can't maintain stuff. Like we don't maintain things. Like you build a beautiful house and then 10 years later it's dilapidated.
I was looking at the railway systems in the country. It's like
dude,
just
just get a local contractor to come and renovate the roof and fix everything that's falling apart. Like renovate, things need to be maintained. That is my thing. I really feel sorry for the people in Hammanskraal that it has come to the point where people are dying from cholera. And it's such an easy thing to prevent, right? Because it's just boil your water. If you can't boil them, put just simple bleach, not the soapy one, the normal watery bleach. And it's very cheap, But now you have to die because you're waiting on someone to come and deliver something that you're either paying for or not paying for. We never know. In the township, some people have got indigent benefits from the municipality, so they don't pay for certain things, or they pay a certain rate, like disabled people who live alone, old people, orphanages, etc., non-profit entities. So the reality here is that it's not even 10 years. It's a 20-year struggle with this water treatment plant. And when you listen to the narrative from government about why this has come to this point, it's a fight between
They
various water
politicize
boards.
it, right?
It's a fight between various water boards.
Politics.
You don't know what it's about. Like, no one can tell you. It's like, okay, but the water treatment plant has been needing work for 20 years. And for the last 10 years, it's been collapsing regularly, which is why sometimes they don't get water, or the water comes through and it's dirty, of course, etc. Because it just has not been maintained. You don't know what the fight is about. So what is the solution? Self-managed communities.
Stand up and do it for self.
Do it yourself. I mean, Soweto did it. And this is why this land restitution, or what do you call it, the whole economic justice question around the land question, and the Restitution Act, including the Amendment Act, is so important.
To close off the episode, the last topic of this episode, Ndate Ace Makashule, they're saying is as good as expelled from the ANC.
Who cares? I'm just like, who cares? It's like, can we move on?
Okay.
With our lives, because this is not Gambia or Equatorial Guinea or Barking, all these crazy countries where we must be governed by people, like to the point where our lives can't move. Now we must know who's expelled from which political party, who's not expelled, who's still a member. We don't care. We don't need political parties. We literally, their time has expired the world over, by the way. It's a global system. It's a global system, the political party system. It's a Western system that was built to support the capitalist trajectory of, development agenda, right? You don't need them. Like, what do you need? Okay, you don't need a municipality, for instance. To build roads. But if you have a community that's well organized, how do the private estates manage? There's no municipality inside the private estate.
It's just a body corporate.
And inside the estate, right?
Inside the estate,
your lights, the streets, your landscaping, whatever, cleanliness, everything. Making sure we don't have rats. It's an RTP, but it's an RTP complex. But very clean, very cute, very pretty. So what do you need a municipality for? To build the roads here and maintain electricity and give you water, right? With the technologies we have today, we can. That's why I'm in the energy space. I promise you, I want to live off the grid, and I'm going to live off the grid. Because there is no need anymore for all these crazy people, councillors, and at least at local level, we can get rid of them. If we can have people, community structures that can look after the infrastructure and the money collected from the people to manage the infrastructure, and then government can just decide maybe they can continue collecting tax through SARS. I don't know. They can just do other things, but I think really the sooner we start creating communities that are self-sufficient,
Do for self.
build our own roads that can lead us maybe to the provincial road. Okay, they can build maybe the roads in the area, because that would be the only responsibility left for them. Water solutions we can create ourselves. Waste, oh my God, waste.
Waste, you can actually turn waste into energy, right?
Waste into
We can
energy.
even power ourselves through waste.
You turn your waste into gas, and then you take the gas into electricity. I'm very excited. Like, I'm working with a teams of engineers and other people that are in that space. It's so super amazing. Your entire waste in your household doesn't need umaspala. Mina, right now, all I throw in my bin is paper, plastic, and the other stuff. All my food waste goes into composting. I produce my own compost in my little RTP garden. And I'm doing it like right here. I'm not talking at a big scale. I don't live in a house, a big house. I live in a small little complex, 30 units, small little garden. I promise you, I'm like this close to living off the grid, and I'm going to do it. I do not want in an area where we can have we can persuade each other to say, this is our place, guys. Let's open a trust. Let's have accountants and all of that looking after the trust. Let them maintain our roads. Let's sit down with the municipalities. We can do everything ourselves. I mean, I chased people down. I told you this, and you guys laughed at me. I was chasing people that I thought were stealing our cables. I literally ngabagijimisa ngemoto yami in my area. Ngabagijimisa up and down. Ngaba busy go WhatsApp group ye cancel. It's a day canceller, but I mean we are all welcome because it's our place. And yeah, that day mangiqeda ukubagijimisa, then they gave us a break from load shedding for a while nyana, you know. And then every time you even find the word council about load shedding, it's like, I can't do anything about it, of course, because ESCOM is national, but city power is in Joburg. I'm like, yeah, but sort out that shitty power. Well, I was the first person to call them shitty power, so I want to, I want to, but our IP, I want to IP. So stop there. Yeah, they are so shitty. But they've been, all I'm saying is that we can live off the grid. We can take care of ourselves. The people of Hammanskraal must not lose hope in themselves. They can lose hope in the other crazy people, but not in themselves. They can do this themselves.
I think to close off the episode, that's exactly what we're doing as well. We came up with a crowdfunding initiative called a Stokfela. We grew up with Stokfels. There's different types of Stokfels. People know grocery Stokfels. Mamas put money together. They extract the money at the end of the year to buy things for Christmas, food for children, etc. There's another type of Stokfel called the burial Stokfel. Other people call it burial societies.
Yeah.
We've got another type of a Stokfel called the rotational Stokfel, where this month you guys come to my home. I'm hosting everybody, drinks, food, and all of the money that is collected from the members come to me. The next month goes to the other member. She or he hosts us, and then the next month, etc. Until I wait my turn, maybe next year or at the end of the year, depending on how many members are in that rotational Stokfel. We grew up with those. Now there is investment Stokfels. So we've come together and partnered up with a South African fintech app called Stokfela.com. That is STOKFELLA.com, Stokfela.com. Go to Stokfela.com and go look for our Stokfel, which is called the Noble Property Stokfel. Noble Property Stokfel is a collaboration between Ekasi Noble Property Development and Stokfela.com, which was started by a gentleman by the name of Mr. Tsepo Muloi from Soweto. They've been running for a couple of years. They've won multiple awards in South Africa, and they've done over 200 million in transactions. It is a reputable platform. You can trust them, and they are also registered with the FSCA, formerly the FSB. So they've got their own FSB licenses. You can go to the FSCA website, go punch in their Stokfela number there, their registered number, and they're going to appear, so you can make sure that they're legitimate. For me, that's what I'm trying to promote, guys. Crowdfunding. Alone, I can work hard for many years, but if we all come together with a common goal, common vision, we can all invest in agricultural stuff, we can invest in franchises, we can invest in different things. But ours, the Noble Property Stokfel, invest in land and property. We're investing in our brand new upcoming estate in North Riding Equestrian Estates. The estate is called Ngonyama Lifestyle Estate. People are saying we're not going to do it, but we're going to prove them wrong. The same thing they did when we were starting MOFAYA. A lot of them discouraged us and said, we're not going to pull it off, we're not going to do it. We're going to show them. People get called, cops get called for people because they're trying to hlabela amadlozi, do their own religious, spiritual practices. Those things have come to an end because finally black people have come together to build their own estates. We are building our own estates. People are building triple bedrooms, 4 bedrooms, 5 bedrooms, double stories, wine cellars, home theaters, swimming pools, double garages, triple garages. It's going to be in the North Riding Equestrian Estates. Our estate is called Ngonyama Lifestyle Estate. We start building in a couple of months' time. If you'd like to participate, we've got 150 square land, 200 square, 250 square, 300 square, 350 square, 400 square. It doesn't matter. Even if you're not a South African citizen, you're more than welcome to go to ekasinobleproperties.com. Click in there, check out the opportunities that are in there, and then you can invest from anything from 200,000 rands, which is an equivalent, like $6,000, right? Yeah, $6,000, $7,000. 250,000 rands, 300,000 rands, 350,000 rands. Those people that have invested in that, we are now sitting at over 100 investors, and congratulations to all of you guys, and thank you so much for being patient with us. We know we haven't started building yet, but it's because we are adhering to the rules and regulations of the laws and the municipality that governs the area, which is the city of Johannesburg. But then we started the Stokfela because other people are saying, I'm not interested to hold the title deed, I'm not interested to stay in that area, I don't want to own land, but I want to be a property investor. Why don't you guys come up with a crowdfunding platform or a Stokfela where we can invest from wherever we are, from the Eastern Cape, in Limpopo. I don't even have to live in Joburg. Start something, guys. And then we had him here, or next door on our next door channel, The Hustler's Corner, on the Property Talk Show, Uputsepo Muloi. And then when we were having the interview, that's when the idea came up. Why don't we collaborate and let's do something together?
Yeah.
So we've collaborated and started the Noble Property Stokvel, where people
Nice.
can invest from as little as 10,000 rands
I'm going to
with
invest.
15% annual returns. You can invest 20,000 rands, 50,000 rands, 100,000 rands. Everybody
Monthly.
is welcome. No, it's up to you. Just a once off. It's
I'm
just a
going to
once off.
invest.
It's
I
just a
can
once
afford
off.
10,000.
It's just a once off,
I'm
yeah.
poor, but I can afford 10,000.
No, you're not poor. You're not poor.
Of course I'm poor.
You wouldn't have held such an entire episode. Every time when you're on an episode, the wealth of intelligence that you have and just your patriotism and just your love for South Africa comes through. And you'll see in the comment section, people love your mind. People love your brain. Some people have even said, like, why did she leave the EFF? Other people have said, this is our future president. Why didn't she pursue? You know
There's
what I mean?
no
Like,
discussion that irritates me like that one. I mean, come on, guys. Like, we're in a free democratic country. Even divorce is legal, eh? The Marriages Act includes getting married and getting divorced. It's all in... Oh, no, I'm lying. It's the Marriages Act and then there's the Divorce Act. But they work together. You can't have divorce without the marriage. So you can ngakshada, but I can divorce you. Why must I continuously explain ukuthi ngidivorceleni? Bangasakufuni. Every day. Like, it's been 3 years. I bumped into a guy yesterday at my local mall, hounding me. How? Sis MANDISA. I'm like, you know what, guys? Like, this is very abusive, actually. This is misogyny of the highest order. So, umuntu wesifazane agana, what do they call it ngesilungu? It's cool. There's a word ngesilungu that I always forget, you know, this sense of just being free as a person. Because when my mother popped me out of her womb, she never put like a cow. Angina stamp mina la esibhalwe ukuthi ngiproperty yakabani. Even uma wami akangi-own. Why must I continuously mangihambe ekhaya zange ngichazele umuntu. Ngatshela nje umama ukuthi I'm out of here. And she has never ever hounded me ukuthi buye ekhaya. My own mara ongizalayo. Nina niyangiharasa about membership of something. Like, I can't, guys. Even my bank, I can change my bank anytime. Angifuna ukuharaswa ukuthi why ushiye le bank. Why amadoda angaharaswa kanje? We don't have real freedom as women, like for real. And this land discussion that you want us to have, I really am waiting for it because it's about all of that stuff.
that's the next episode we're having, guys. By the way, for those who are interested in the Noble Property Stokvel, I'll put the link in the description. For more information, go to www.stokvela.com or go to www.ekasinobleproperties.com. This has been the Virtual Mkuku. We'll see you again next episode when we will be discussing the Land Restitution Act.
Sure.
Thank you very much. That was dope.
Thank you.
Siyabonga, Sis MANDISA. I'll see you soon.
Sugar free.
It's coming. See you guys on the next episode. Thank you.